maybe Montreal a couple of years ago.
I think that was Vancouver the last time because I
Okay,
Yeah.
Yep, I got one too.
Yep, we're providing for everyone.
All right, we're live.
Okay. Okay, everyone who's joining on YouTube, welcome to the first Node tooling meeting of 2021. We actually got a pretty good group of folks today, so I guess we'll jump to the agenda. If folks want to put their names in here, I'm going to talk myself in. Any specific announcements folks want to call out?
I don't know if it matters, but we're electing another board member from the CPC, kind of somewhat slightly related. I don't know. Chris Borchers is the primary board director for the CPC, and we're about to open up elections for replacing, or his seat. I don't know what else in terms of announcements.
What the committee is that for, Joe?
The Cross Project Council Committee and the Open
Project Council. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's like that oversees everything in the foundation, like the foundation, yeah.
Yeah, like the top technical committee.
Yeah.
I don't even know if technical is the right word.
Of which Node is one of the main projects.
Yeah.
I wanted to call out, we don't have it in our own agenda right now, but I wanted to call out that the random UUID feature was landed in Node.
Yeah, I saw that.
Embarrassingly, apparently someone was championing this right around the time that we started having this group meeting, and unfortunately kind of ran into a wall where people weren't super excited to land it. So I was kind of rereading their work from 2.5 years ago, and I was certainly apologetic, but it kind of, I think it shows that the tone's changed a little bit in the last 2 years. Like people are more willing to pull in some of these tools that kind of really make the platform more ergonomic, which I appreciate.
Yeah, same.
So I think that's really useful. What I was going to kind of tack onto that is there's also a standardization effort ongoing for random UID to try to make it potentially something in the browser eventually. And that's in its pretty early stages still, but I'm still trying to nudge that along gently, and we'll try to keep Node in line with it as we move it forward. So there's some web cryptography is a closed working group within W3C, I believe. So it's there's not a super clear path to how you would add new features to it right now. So I don't know how that process works. I'm just learning. So, but I'm excited that James helped push that work forward. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess the other exciting, are you officially, like you will officially be a collaborator, Ian, just because there was no objections, or how does that process work?
I actually don't know how the process works. I don't know at what point it becomes official, but I'm not in the list on the, the collaborators list on the repo yet. But
I'm going to not congratulate you then, but once you're onboarded and things are looking good, then we can hopefully congratulate you in a couple of weeks. Cool. So just jumping into the agenda. We have the foreign function interface ticket that we've had open for a while, and I think Brian English was championing this at one point. Anyone have anything they would like to speak to in that ticket, or would like to add on to that? Maybe we can gently nudge Brian and see if he wants to speak to it in an upcoming meeting.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. He opened it in June. It's been a while.
And there's my favorite thing. Well, I guess my favorite thing is copy-r, but we have chmod-r still on the agenda.
I just tacked that onto the end of the agenda because we don't actually have an open issue for it yet.
Okay.
We can lump it in under chmod-r though as well.
Yeah, why don't we move it up? Why don't we just make this like a recursive file systems like update?
Yeah. I guess I can give like a little bit of an update on that. I mean, not much has happened in the last month, but I did put together like a rough kind of RFC covering the recursive copy functionality. I can't remember where I shared that. I think I maybe just shared it in the Slack channel. I will make an issue in the tooling repo for recursive copy and link it in there. So yeah, I would love some feedback on that. Oh, Joe's got the link there, perfect. Yeah, I would love some feedback on that. It's fairly rough. I've never written an RFC before, so could definitely maybe use some help. I know, I mean, Node doesn't even have like the formal RFC process anyways, so I'm not sure how like formal or official it needs to be. I think the goal would be, as a group, we should sort of proof the proposal, make sure we're happy with it, and then I think it basically becomes an issue that we open on the main repo and gather some feedback there. Find out who's interested in being involved, and then we can start work on the implementation, provided people are in favor of it.
That makes sense to me. Should we just try to say for the next meeting in 2 weeks, everyone's read through this and has put any feedback they have in the notes, maybe?
Sure. Yeah, that would be great.
Here, I can capture that. There's a kind of a fell on the floor recursive PR that I think Tierney's on the call actually. I think I saw him. But yes. You brought it up. The make recursively also make the file, I think, had been brought up by you at one point, and someone actually has a commit open for that. I just want to find it. So I just want to make sure these community things don't get dropped on the floor when it comes from an external contributor. I'm just going to try to find it so we actually put it in our agenda. If I don't find it, I'll find it after the meeting and put it in. It's under issues. Recursive watch, recursive. Yeah, here we go. Feature request. They actually had a pretty good implementation and they were getting good support. So, oh, did it actually land? Then I guess my work is done here.
Cool.
Oh no, it's open.
Okay.
No, is it? Let's see.
What PR is it?
Is this against his own branch? Here, I'll just link the issue and then we can do some forensic work afterwards. Anyways, I think we should probably open an agenda item for that and try to help get that over the finish line for the community member. It kind of fits with the work we've been doing. I thought it sounded useful to me. Like it does save operations, and they made a strong case for it, and they were getting support from other folks on the project.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I bring it up is just because it's like it is a pattern I see people stumble over constantly, especially going through the docs and try like having to. It's just like a thing people have to reteach themselves a lot, or at least that I've seen people reteaching themselves. And so if we just provide that, that would like I mean, I don't think it's that much additional overhead, like to stray away from small core, but it also saves developer time. So I think it is potentially a good addition just for developer ergonomics. We can't hear you.
I was agreeing with you, and I would see if does anyone else have an opinion on the feature?
Yeah, not really. I looked briefly at the PR or at the proposal or whatever. I mean, it seems if it's useful to people, it seems like a small change. So I have no objection to that.
Here we are. I linked the. I failed at linking the actual PR. There it is. 3775. Cool. Maybe if anyone else wants to hop in and give some feedback. I had to give it a little bit.
3775.
Yeah, let me put
You're
it
missing it. You're missing a digit there. That's from 2015.
Oh, am I?
Oh, I assume this is a Node core, right?
Yeah. Here, let me do it.
35775.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the right one.
Did I have it right in the notes? Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I just I'd bring that one up too. Any objections to moving a little farther forward in the agenda? Or I don't know, maybe the last point is, do we want to keep doing this piecemeal like this, or do we have an interest in like someone doing a holistic look at all our file system operations and seeing if they should be recursive? Or could we just have a policy of, I'm going to show my bias. Could we have a policy where we consider it on a case-by-case basis if people want to say it would be useful to them? That sounds easier. Or yeah. Maybe, or would we rather actually do a more holistic where someone does all the research?
I think in a previous meeting, we actually sort of like brainstormed what we thought would be good candidates for a recursive functionality. So I don't remember where that went, but if we look back through the meeting notes at some point, we did have kind of like a list that we were working off of. Maybe that should get posted in an issue. I can do that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, maybe we have an issue there where we keep sort of like the list and then work off of that. I also just created an issue for recursive copy. What do I have to do to get it on the agenda? I just added the tooling agenda label. Is that all that's required?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So that'll be on there for next week, and then yeah, I can copy over the list of sort of recursive candidates.
Yeah. We could potentially, if that's the route we want to go, we could even open that up on Node because it might give people an idea of where to help out on the project if they see one and want to pick it off the list and try implementing it. So
you mean posting the list in the main repo?
Yeah, maybe maybe bring it to this meeting first and make sure we kind of agree on it, and then it might be worth
let's develop it here and then we can move it over.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, we could definitely, it would be a good way also just to get some feedback on like what of the things on the list are people most interested in, to maybe help sort of prioritize our efforts.
Sounds great to me.
Okay, I can work on that for next time.
Okay, ESM module reloading. I think we kind of left with an action item last meeting that I think I might have taken it on and not picked it up, or someone did, which was to play with the userland tool. At least was thinking that in my head, that's what we should do, because I feel like we've had it in our agenda forever, but we don't really, no one's really become an expert at whether it actually solves the problem. So I feel it would be good for someone to play with the tool before we really agitate about implementing it in Node or agitate about changes that need to be made to Node, personally. That's my gut. Unless anyone else wants to speak on this one. And this issue, for folks who haven't been following along, is basically if you're trying to do something like proxy choir, where you, in a unit test, want to make it so that a sub-dependency kind of dynamically swaps out a dependency as it loads it in, so that you can proxy you can kind of mock difficult to mock inner methods as the require happens. You can do this with require, because require lets you delete the thing from the require cache and put a new thing in the require cache, so you can kind of like munge that value. But ESM is immutable, so it's more difficult to just swap in one require and then get a different require when you try to do it. But someone in userland kind of, I think, wrote some sort of loader implementation where it would kind of come up with, I think, a dynamic name for the thing being required and swap that out dynamically for you. So it can potentially solve the problem. So
the other kind of related issue was like dynamic, like watching files for changes and reloading, like watching tests for changes, or yeah, that was the other sort of side to this. So yeah, I'd be curious if that tool can help with that as well.
Cool.
Anyone else have anything for that?
Nope.
Okay, moving right along. These other two agenda items, we keep saying that that the new hooking functionality that Stephen Bellinger is working on might help with, I think. Word.
Yeah,
I think
it was Corey, I think, that was kind of championing these, but he hasn't been around recently.
Yeah. So I think I just want to put here.
Is that perhaps another nudge? See if Stephen can join a meeting and.
I think so. Yeah, I think maybe actually being able to come with him something actionable we want to do might be good, though. Like maybe asking, is this work that's happening, and if so, is there a way we could contribute for this exit hook stuff, or this? The process exiting is really useful. We kind of have been hacking that in on a need by need basis, but it's not really available to the community. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we need a champion though for this. Like, and so I guess we could reach out to Corey and see if he's still interested.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. So I think I don't want to take Steven's time if there's not a champion who's going to like help push it forward either. So. I think that's a good idea, Joe. We could also consider taking some of this stuff off the agenda, or we could keep just moving through it quickly when we hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like with the FFI one, you know, Brian's not here, so we just kind of skip over it for the time being. Anyways, if that goes on for another 6 months or something, then maybe we just archive it.
Works for me. Okay, so I'm going to move along to source map v3. And I've done a little bit more work recently, kind of checking off some of the bugs that have been brought up and trying to make it continue to work better. And what did I change? Let me repage it into memory. It actually shows the right function names now, which is another entry in the source map. So like if you're using a minifier that munges the function names that used to not show the right function names, now it tries to. It does show the source in its original context. It does show you the right line. So I'd kind of like to make the case for it being a for it being a stable feature. But I talked briefly to some of the folks working on the stack trace proposal for TC39, Jordan, LJ Harb. And his concern was, even though it's kind of neat what we're doing in Node.js, where we show the little underscore arrow and show you both the original call site and the transpiled call site, I think it was a neat idea, but it's the odds of it being specified in the TC39 stack trace spec are not very good, because it's like us basically tacking on a new grammar to something that they're trying to chase and kind of just tack down what's currently being done. So I was thinking, after talking with Jordan, and I actually honestly agree, like I'd kind of like to change the functionality so that we only show the transpiled code if you've asked for source maps to be used, and we show the original code if you haven't asked for source maps to be used. And even though it's slightly more annoying, like if the bug happened to be in the transpiled step, you're not seeing the original call site if it happened to be caused by that.
Would it be possible to also have an option to show both still?
That's a fair option. Yeah, that's a fair point. I just thought to call it stable, it would be more likely probably to get support for calling it stable if it doesn't introduce this kind of new grammar in a stack trace.
100%.
So,
yeah, you could always add the option and the ability to show both as like a follow-up. I do think that only showing one or the other would probably make it more compatible with tools like Datadog or Sentry or things like that capture exceptions.
I agree. I think it's the right decision. Yeah.
It turns out that Node now has a bunch of Datadog DevRels as participants in the project, so we could ask.
Yeah,
That's
I
great
actually did have this conversation a while ago with Brian, but that was maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, and I don't exactly remember where we left it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe landing it as non-experimental, where it shows one or the other, and then that makes the integration with those tools easier. And then if we do follow up with the double, original and transpiled option, we can maybe work with people like that to make sure that that's properly supported as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could maybe move, we could probably even just work with the folks working on the TC39 spec and be it would be kind of neat if we could show both, but is there a way we can extend it or something? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of trying to force them to do it, though, because we've chosen to do it, I think it'd make more sense to start where things are and kind of move forward if we think it's necessary. So,
yeah, I agree.
Cool. So that sounds like a decision, and that will probably be the next thing I do some coding on in Node. Next thing, argument parsing. I love argument parsing. Where's this landing? Is Chris ever coming back to us?
I've got a branch that is kosher. That I squashed all of the previous commits and rebased it against master. Everything's looking good. I've started to gather the concerns and relevant comments from that long thread, and I'm trying to parse, no pun intended, what's outstanding and what's blocking. And talked to Roy briefly today, and he volunteered to do the bit of work that he was suggesting in the comment thread. So there's some progress there, but not too much to do yet. Or too much to show yet. I'm hoping to get another PR open soon once I can kind of articulate, what is outstanding and how we would move forward on it.
Awesome.
If you want some earlier feedback on that from the group, in the past, I'll open a PR against my own fork rather than the main repo and just share that. Like I did that with Ben when I was working on the RimRaf stuff. So yeah, if you're looking for some earlier feedback before you open the real PR.
Great. No, it's a good idea. I was thinking about something like that too. So I will I'll get that going and ping the group.
Cool.
Awesome. I think I've seen like 2 or 3 people chime in on the closed PR now and be like, why the heck was this closed? We want this functionality. So.
I think in terms of like the stuff that we're working on right now too, that's probably like the most likely thing to land next. So yeah, it'd be cool to get, you know, an early win this year with that.
Yeah, so it's top of my list. So I will keep you all updated and I appreciate your help in moving it forward.
Awesome. Anyone have any new business? Like, I think that we should talk a little bit about our plans for the year because it's our first meeting of the year. But any like more technical things they want to get on agenda items for?
I don't know if this is necessarily relevant to this group, but you know, just speaking of like TC39, I've been talking with Little Dan about there's a new decimal proposal that he's been working on along with someone else, and so I kind of volunteered, since I work at a company that's building a bank with Node. Decimal numbers would be awesome. So anyways, yeah, I told him I'm going to be working as much as I can to move that forward this year, which will also include probably like polyfilling that or building like some kind of like Babel implementation or something as a proof of concept. So I don't know if I don't think that's super relevant to this group, but thought I would mention it anyways.
That sounds amazing, though. I feel like whenever I talk to like, well, I work at Google. We have our like database libraries, and Node can be kind of deficient compared to other languages in terms of number representation. So that'd probably be super beneficial for things like Bigtable and Spanner and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I can also imagine it, the like Cosmos team at Microsoft, Cosmos DB, being relatively interested in this for various things that they do.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, and actually, one thing that the proposal is going to need, I think, in the medium term, is some champions from, like, we're trying to get someone from Safari on board, someone from Chrome, and various other projects like that. So, yeah, maybe we should discuss that at some point as well. And also, if any of you are just interested in the proposal or finding out where it's at or want to talk about it at all, that would be great too.
Cool. I feel like I could find someone similar at Google working on one of our JavaScript database libraries who'd love to talk to you about it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. We're part of basically where we're at right now is gathering feedback. Like, what do people want out of the functionality? How do you expect it to work? So yeah, any that would be great.
It's a loud motorcycle outside, so give me 1 second here. Okay. So kind of first meeting of the year business. I guess I'll move that into meeting business, fine. We used to have, I guess at the Node kind of interactive conferences or the interactive conferences, we'd usually have kind of like a large group planning meeting and set out some goals for the year for ourselves. We shouldn't try to do this in the last 20 minutes of this meeting, but I wonder if are there good opportunities for us to do that coming up? Like, what conferences are coming up, or do we want to just do a meeting that's dedicated to that? Or I wonder how we should do planning this year.
I think interactive or whatever the world is planned for June. So that's midway through the year, so probably doing one now-ish and then following up at that would be the strategy there.
Yeah, I think we could. I mean, I think just with the people here, we could probably come up with like at least a few roadmap items for the year, and then yeah, maybe we do some kind of like send out a larger invite for a meeting to solicit more feedback from people.
Maybe plan one like a month out so that we can kind of. I feel like it feels ambitious to say in 2 weeks we'll have all carved out the time to invite additional people to the meeting, but maybe in a month we could have figured out how to do that.
Sure. What's the best way to do that? Would that be like to open an issue on the main repo to find out who's interested, or I don't know.
Yeah, we could do that and loop in Teams. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to talk over you.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, and then also adding it to the TST and ComCom agendas. If you like, at least getting them, getting awareness there will help get a little bit more attention and help spread it.
Is that a matter of just adding the labels, opening up one issue, adding labels?
Yep.
Makes sense. We could do that like anytime in the next 2 weeks and just set the time as 4 weeks out when we'll actually be having the meeting, just to give people some headroom.
Right.
And then we should. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say maybe we can like follow up with that on Slack and come up with like maybe choose a date and that works for us, and then post the issue.
Sure. Do we want to use this like meeting time? Do we want to expand this meeting time, or do we want to just pick something entirely new?
Good question.
What's your experience been, Joe? Do you think, like in your running of committees, do you think an hour is long enough for a planning meeting like this, or should we do a little longer?
I feel like we might be able to get it done in an hour, but maybe it makes sense to plan it longer in case we want to run over or do run over. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Ernie?
Yeah, I'd say probably like an hour and a half at the least, if not two. Just and like people, like the nice thing is people can dip in and out at that length.
Yeah.
And you don't, like, if it overlaps with someone's meeting, like if you do two, if it overlaps with someone's meeting, then they can at least attend half, usually, theoretically, hopefully.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, that sounds good. So we'll basically maybe, I guess we could do some of the planning right now. We got time. Would we rather push it an hour earlier or an hour later? Maybe an hour earlier for people who are attempting to join like East Coast or European time.
I'd like that.
Yep.
Okay.
That will probably work for me. I have a meeting right before this meeting every 2 weeks, but it usually ends half an hour, 45 minutes early, so I can make that work.
It's like a great meeting.
It is, yeah. We book it for an hour and a half, and lately it gets shorter and shorter.
I'd say tentatively 12 p.m. PST. Should be an hour earlier than when we held it today. Last thing there. Oh, and we should talk to. We should try to use some like Kanban board software or something to like make it smooth over the internet. I wonder if anything. What was being worked for like the next 10 years? That worked well.
There's been an interesting tool. I think it's called Mira. I might be, yeah, that's an Among Us map. There's
the Darcy special, yes. Right? His
So I'm thinking of something different. This
Fun
is
Retro?
something we use for Electron. Fun Retro is one. There's a different whiteboard or like sticky note tool that we used in Electron for our collaborator summit that was actually really useful. I don't know how to hit command on this, so I can't actually DM Jacob to ask. But I will find that out and shoot that over if that would be helpful.
That would be really helpful, yeah.
There actually is a whiteboarding tool called like Mira or Miro or something.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's the one I'm talking about. I
Okay.
think Mira is the Among Us map, and I think it's Miro for the. Yep, Miro. Yeah.
Can you spell that?
Miro.com, Miro. I'll put it in the Zoom chat here too. Paste. There you go.
Okay. That's that. So ambitiously try to do a planning meeting in a month's time. So I don't usually have stuff on my calendar on Friday. Let me make sure that I'm not gonna immediately be the problem for that. That should be fine for me. Cool. Anyone else have, we're moving through the agenda fast today. We still have 20 minutes.
Should we throw a couple things onto the list of what we think are sort of like our roadmap for the year? Like, for example, the argument parsing, recursive copy, those are two sort of, I think, obvious ones.
I think that's a good idea. We could seed it, right?
Those are the two main ones that come to mind right now, anyways.
Why don't we just say for our next meeting, we'll plan on doing some of the, just talking amongst ourselves about some of the stuff we'd like to do for the year, and have picked the software we're going to use to do it, and like have an issue open to make sure we're inviting more people in for that next one, and just try to do all three of those things. Let me just write that down.
Sure, that sounds good to me.
Any ideas for roadmap? Populate something we can share. Populate Miro. Or at least have a thing we can populate. And what was the final thing I said? Oh, actually have the issue opened.
Right.
We probably should do that sooner, honestly, if we want to get loop in everyone. So who should?
That's kind of what I meant by, like, maybe let's kind of coordinate this on Slack. Maybe like either this weekend or next week, and then we can open that issue a little bit earlier.
That sounds good. Do you want me to assign that to? Since you're suggesting it, Ian, can I assign it to you, and like I'll add myself on it too?
Sure, I can post something right now in the tooling group Slack as well, just to kind of as a placeholder or something.
That works for me.
Okay.
For some reason, it's not letting me message you anyway, so I've been. All these Google tools. Oh, never mind. I'm gonna save it when we're not recording. Well, I think it's fair to say they work so incredibly well when you're in Google, and then I'm like using my personal account, and then I'm like trying to message you, and it's just not the same experience, I think. But I get it that trying to message the entire world's a lot harder than someone inside a company.
Mm-hmm.
So you've not been messaged since the end of this.
All right. Did get me on one.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that one time. Yeah. All right. Anyone else have any new business or fun things they want to share from the holidays, or anything at all they'd like to say?
Oh, wait. Let's see if I can get half of it up. I'm excited for this. It's
nice.
Pain to type on. Oh, wait, there.
Are you like new to it? Like,
yeah,
type on it? I hear
literally today.
Okay, yeah, I hear it's hard to make the adjustment.
Extremely hard. I'm still trying to find out where parentheses are. Maybe not the best to immediately start coding on, but it's my fun present to myself.
It's supposed to be. Is it supposed to be better ergonomically? Is that why folks?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, ergonomics are also garbage. Like, it's not real. But I don't know. I've been told that as I've gotten more into this. So I don't know. I just like it because I can remove half of the keyboard when I'm playing video games. So
nice. So my holiday, my girlfriend and I decided to go visit family like months ago, like in October. But we didn't feel safe flying in a plane because I was like, it's just like seems like a box of germs. So we decided to do a careful drive across the country. which was interesting. So that was my whole holiday season, was seeing Utah for the first time, and
Nice.
and
Sounds
seeing
pretty
the
cool, actually.
prairies. Actually, yeah, it was great. It's funny because the most beautiful by far was definitely and otherworldly was definitely Utah, with like Zion, and then southern Utah into Colorado. And so I could have just not driven for like 20 hours and driven 7 hours and seen probably the most beautiful part of the country. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel you on that, having done similar drive
Yeah.
6 months. It's like, man, the West Coast just really has all the best scenery.
I felt like, the road between like Vale and I think Vale and Zion is incredible. Like it's like looks like prehistoric Earth. Okay, well,
I was going to say, I've been wanting to also do a road trip. I mean, I feel kind of the same way about you about flying. But road trips in Canada in the winter, not, when you get into the mountains and stuff, not the smartest idea. But this spring, I'm hoping to do something like that, because I'm definitely going a little stir crazy.
Yeah.
And I would love to do the US too at some point. But the border's closed at the moment, so.
Yeah,
I'd love to have you when you can make it back.
Yeah,
we're the same way, but in reverse. Would love to go to Canada. Probably won't be for a bit.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, at
I've
least
kind of just given up.
bad idea in the winter, but
Yeah, I've given up on visiting family at this point, at least for another quite a few months.
Yeah.
So now an adopted American, I guess.
Nice.
Yes.
I mean, even just conferences, right? Like, I miss hanging out with you guys and getting a drink or whatever, and just miss that a lot.
it is quite weird to think back to a year and a month ago.
Mhm.
Be like, yeah, that was the last time I went to anything
Yep.
with people.
Well, take care, everyone, and I'm excited for the new year where tooling is related, because it seems like we landed a few things last year, and it seems like we are starting to continue to make the process smoother. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good year for sure.
Awesome. Cool. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.